I hate to break it to you, but whether it's a house, a business, it's real estate, gold coins, it is going up for sale soon after you pass on. Unfortunately, that's just the so. I've got a great topic for you this week. I'm sure you're going to have a lot to say about it. So let's get right into it. All right, dads, if you could only leave one of the following to your kids when you pass on, which one would it be? Would you leave them with $1 million or with $1 million mindset? All right, before you decide, let me give you a little bit of background information that might influence your thinking on this, because this is really a question about legacy versus inheritance. So, according to research, only about 1 in 5 Americans receive an inheritance. But here's the reality. 80% of Americans don't receive an inheritance. The bottom line, most men don't get rich enough to leave their children a significant inheritance. So if you're still thinking about that question, let me tell you how I see it. An inheritance is what we leave behind. It's our tangible assets. Could be real estate, a business, a car, a bank account, whatever it is. But a legacy is how we live. It's our standards, our values, our character, our meaningful achievements. At 58 years old, the father of 3 adults, and now in my 3rd marriage, I am more convinced than ever that a legacy is far more important than any inheritance that I can leave my kids. Now, I know my kids will probably not be happy to hear that, but let me share with you 3 hard truths why I believe legacy matters more than inheritance. All right, number 1, they're going to sell the house, Dad. I hate to break it to you, but whether it's a house, a business, it's real estate, gold coins, it is going up for sale soon after you pass on. Unfortunately, that's just the fact. The second hard truth, you could work hard all your life, save, invest, live below your means to leave your kids with an inheritance, and then it could get all wiped away, whether it's a war, recession, a serious illness or injury could wipe out a lifetime of savings and investments in a matter of hours, weeks, or months. Just ask anyone who retired in 2020 or planned to retire in 2020 when COVID hit, tanked the economy, crashed Wall Street, and took out a lifetime of savings and investments. And a lot of seniors found themselves having to work at McDonald's or another job like that just to make ends meet. So hard truth number 3. You know that scripture that says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children? That scripture, when you examine it closely, is really an argument for legacy over inheritance. In the context of that scripture, the fathers and grandfathers were responsible for instilling a sense of character, a sense of identity into the next generations. It wasn't just about land and property. So those are 3 hard truths why I believe legacy matters more than inheritance. But also, I think legacy is harder to cultivate, to grow, to build than an inheritance. And here's why. To leave a significant inheritance for your kids, you do have to become a good financial steward. And that's a huge accomplishment. And the fathers that are able to do that should absolutely be celebrated for that achievement. But I think legacy goes a step beyond that, because to build a strong legacy that you're going to live and then leave for your kids, you also have to become a great life steward. It requires you, it demands of you that you continue to raise your standards over your lifetime. And that is the hardest part of legacy for me, is raising my standards, even after I no longer have to raise my kids. As I said, my kids are all grown now. You know, it's interesting. In some ways, it was a little easier to be the mouth as opposed to be the model, I should say, rather than the mouth when I knew that my kids were watching me, because I was their model, right? For what it looks like to be a father, to be a husband, in my case, an entrepreneur. But now that my kids are grown and successful, I don't have that pressure of my kids watching me in that sense. So, you know, in some areas, it's more of a struggle to be the model instead of just the mouth. But, you know, fortunately, my wife is always ready to help me in that regard, quote unquote, help me, right? And she will definitely let me know when I'm being more mouth than model. But ultimately, this is the biggest reason for me, I think, why I come down on the side of legacy. Because if I am able to live the kind of legacy I then envision, a strong legacy that I can leave behind for my kids and future grandkids, then it won't really matter if I'm able to leave an inheritance or not. Because I would have done my job as a father to instill a strong sense of identity and character and leave certain standards to provide my kids with a foundation that they can then build on and elevate and continue to thrive with or without an inheritance. They probably won't be too happy to hear that. But you know, dads, ultimately, I want to do both. I am striving to do both. I do want to leave significant inheritance, and I want to leave a strong legacy. I want to know what you think. Which one matters more? Legacy or inheritance? $1 million or that $1 million mindset? Because that's what we're really talking about when we talk about legacy or inheritance. I'm going to drop a link to SpeakPipe, I think it is, in the comments so that you can, or in the description, so that you can drop us a voice memo. I want to know what you think about this topic. And please remember to hit subscribe and to share the podcast with another first man who's upgrading his life, his leadership, and his legacy. Until next time, strong men, strong families, strong legacies. Peace and blessings.